I love what your cousin's
You have a
doing. I
cousin
love
like
her
the Fisher
whole
Price
vibe.
like
Peace, family. What's good? What's good? Welcome to the RPGM podcast. I know I took a very, very short break. Well, it felt long to me, but we are back, and I am back with a vengeance. I have some amazing guests here. Let me say, I gotta set this up properly, right? First of all, they are some of my favorite people. They are clients, but now friends.
Family.
My longest family friends. It's been almost 8 going on 9 years. Right? I'm not able to just know you guys are in for an amazing ride. All right, so before we get started with that, I'm going to give you guys this real quick, right? So our topic for today is the hidden trials of successful couples. I'll say it one more time. I'm going to say it very slow so you can understand what we're going to talk about. The hidden trials of successful couples. Now, I know y'all see people out there, they look successful, and they're like, oh, you guys have everything. You guys look good. You guys great good. There's a lot of shit that goes on behind the scene that you don't know about. You're going to learn about it today. But first, one more thing. I want to give you guys this real quick. I want to give you guys what we call the water of the mind. Run that clip right quick. You have the... All right, so this is a Stoic quote. Like, it's something I like to look up a lot of Stoic quotes because it helped me, stay focused, straight to the point, no bullshit, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of quotes that I look at on a daily basis, but Stoic quotes is like my go-to. All right, so today, focus only on what is within your power, your thoughts, actions, and responses. Remember, every moment wasted on what you cannot control is a moment lost from living well. You can rewind it. I'm not going to say it all over again, but it's a really, really dope quote. All right, so let me do this for you guys real quick. All right, I got to set them up. So not only are they my favorite people, right? I have literally seen some of their trials, and I've also seen some of their successes, right? One of many successes, as a matter of fact, right? So I want to introduce my friends, my family, Bebe and PJ Thomas. Welcome, you guys. So much.
Hey, good to be here. Good to be here.
After my break, I had to come back with somebody who was like dope and fire, right? And y'all are my dope and fire couple. So thank y'all for being
You're too kind.
Opinionated, tell it like it is.
Look, we haven't even got started in this. And that's where we're at right now, right? All right, so I have one thing like this called a brain teaser, right? It's a really cool brain teaser way to us to kind of get comfortable and then also get our brains going, get us prepared for these awesome conversations about that, right? So I'm gonna read it very, very slow. I don't have the answer, by the way. So they just literally do it to me. All right. You got it?
I'm terrible at these, so I
know, but you're smart, so you'll be fine. All right, so listen carefully. I never would. I never was, but always will be. No one ever saw me, but everyone knows I exist. I give people the motivation to better themselves every single day. What am I?
The air?
Either time,
time
or faith, hope.
Faith, hope. Yeah, I hope so.
I'm gonna go with faith. That feels just about right.
So what's the right answer?
None of it's the right answer?
Nope.
Come on, like give us a hint or something. No. Okay, hold on.
Tomorrow. Well, that's not true because that was that is literally it was. No, it's not. No. Oh, it is. What? Okay, well there you go.
Boom. PJ.
But okay, I give people the motivation to better themselves every day. Tomorrow. That's a good one.
That's good. Yeah.
It's a good song too.
That's actually really, really good one. All right. So I got one more. We got one more, right? This is a new one. We threw this one out there today. All right. So we call this one Would You Rather?
Oh goodness.
Okay. It's simple. We ain't going too crazy just yet. All right. Would you rather go back in time to warn yourself about a future event, or go back in time to warn someone you love about a future event? either yourself or someone else? Would you rather?
Okay, I would say someone I love because for me, I wouldn't want the warning because and then it's like, well, why would I do it for someone I love? Then I wouldn't want the warning because it's God's plan, right? And it's like how it ended up playing out, as painful as it may have been, was sharpening of my faith, right? And so
you wouldn't warn yourself.
I wouldn't warn myself, but then why am I warning? If I believe in it, why am I warning someone else? I don't know, because I wouldn't want I hate seeing my loved ones suffer.
Yeah.
That's the reason. So
and I would add that, you know, when it's yourself, you know the lesson and the process that you got there, but you don't know for the other person, and for the other person, they may or may not have gotten to that. So in some ways, it is kind of picking up control for something you don't know, which you know has its own, you know, problems. But yeah, I think it's an easy one for me. For the other, if you have to choose one, otherwise I'd say neither. But
I think if I had to choose, that's a tough one for me.
And I'm so hard-headed that like God literally has to teach me in certain ways for me to get it, right?
Good point. Now that you actually understand the trial is what made you.
Yeah.
Change it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But then, like you said, the other person has to, like, you know what, you got to go through that shit in order to get there. So, you know, if I can opt out and not tell nobody anything, that's actually a really good topic. It's important to think about it. Because, like, when people get mad when they say, God knows the orders of your steps, right? And your life is planned out.
Yeah.
But then it's like, do you get mad at God because you know that he knows what's happening and he allows it to happen anyway?
Listen, I think that you would have to be a liar to say you never got mad at God because of how he ordered your steps. Because I tell you, you know this story, and I'm not going to go into too many details, but you know, I was hustling. Part of like us working out has been staying mentally and physically strong in law school, and then getting to the point where you pass the bar, and then you get to your career and you think you made it, and then boom.
On that note, we're going to get into it. So, like I said, guys, we got some hot topics, but we're going to take a very, very short break. We'll be right back. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because somebody's going to benefit from these conversations. We'll be right back. I knew it was going to happen. I said, yep.
Like.
Cool, and we are back. We are back. I want to make sure that I'm going to do a handful of things just to test the mic out for the fun of it. All right, so we have a segment that I love very much. Okay, which is where we pick a song, right? Rhythm and Real Talk that has resonated with you somehow, some way, right? It could be today, it could be last week, or something. Today was my song. Today my song was DNA. Because of Bebe.
That was my fight song.
Yeah, I'll never forget the day that we were in a session, right? Virtual session. And it was like, it was a switch that just went off. And she put that song on, and she just started going nuts. She's like, I got royalty. I'm like, okay. I had to be around law school and all that good stuff that was happening. You were just
100%.
Like, it was like you needed that fight song. And it was just like, I was like, okay, yeah. So immediately, as soon as I saw that today, I was like, well, DNA, that's my song.
Yep.
But it also helped me as well, too, because I'm like, I was able to see you in a different light, right?
Yes.
It was like stress. And you was like, screw it, I don't care. I was like, yeah, right. So that song, and I have those moments too when I'm just like, life is stressing me out. I need a warrior song.
Yep. You are ready to give up. You are on your last thread.
Man. And it's like,
that was my law school fight song. It really was.
Yeah, that was my song. So
just to remind me.
Right. Just let go. That was it. So that was my song. What y'all got? What you got? What's your song?
I think it's been a terrible, terrible week for our country, for God's loving message that is also truthful. And honestly, Love's in Need of Love Today by Stevie Wonder has been on my mind, and I have been praying that and just singing it and listening to it in the car. Yeah. And I think we are in a divisive moment where people do not mingle with people who do not look like them, do not sound like them, do not act like them, do not worship in a place that they worship in. And I just think I think it's extremely sad, and we've got to get off our little phones and our social media and get back together with each other and find common ground.
Right. What's the name of the song again?
Love's in Need of Love Today, Stevie Wonder. I think it's on his Songs in the Key of Life album.
I'm pretty sure.
And I just, yes, I love that.
Awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
That's my song today.
PJ, what's yours? You have one?
This week, because of the events and just managing the things that we manage in this life. One of the songs that always pops up in my mind is Bob Marley's "No More Trouble." So just one because of I like atmospheric sounds, and even though it's reggae, it has an atmospheric sound to it, so it kind of brings it while it's talking about and validating a sense of trouble. The music in and of itself speaks to more hope, something that's a little beyond and above that. And Bob Marley, of course, is amazing. Yeah, of course. So that's one that kind of comes to me.
That's what's up, man. I love that. It's not even a topic, but I just want to kind of hit on this real quick, right? We know the events that happened this week, right? What would your general solace advice be for the world? You know what I mean?
Oh, good night.
That's not broad.
I mean, well, I'm prefacing that way for a reason, because it's like you can say one thing to one person and they receive it one way, right? But there's always something you could say to everybody that'd be like, I need to look at it like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's one thing?
You know what? I have been thinking so much about this, and I've got to back up to something that happened this week to my sister. Speaking of things that break your heart because they happen to your loved one and you see your loved one hurting. Right. My sister is my hero. I love her so much. She came in and she has been the Mary to my Martha in this moment of, and we'll talk about it, caregiving for my mom. So she was walking through our neighborhood and someone said on their phone, I wish they would just walk in their own neighborhood. Why do they have to walk in our neighborhood? And I was just like, no. And I just saw her face and her brokenheartedness, and it just hit me. And it happened in the morning. And then I go to work in the environment I work in, and just my heart is heavy. and I'm just praying about it. And shout out to the church we go to because we go to City Life Church Houston. And when you walk in those doors or go to our small groups or go to our any event, you are going to see people of all different walks of life, of all different colors from all over the world, right? So you are going to be faced and challenged with different views, different opinions, and different people.
Of course.
And that's
Right,
a beautiful thing because
Yeah.
that's iron sharpening iron.
Correct.
And so I literally was getting mad. Like, why are people so racist in this world? And like
Right.
the person who I was like, I have got to pause and call this person. I was literally in my car in the parking garage and I was like, I'm about to cry and go off on somebody because I'm just so mad about that happening to my sister this
Correct.
morning.
Of course.
And I called my white sister in Christ, Heather. And I was like, Heather, this just happened to my sister. And I am so upset. And I have to go into work and I have to go into this meeting.
Right.
And I'm not in the headspace. And it's terrible. And And we just talked and we prayed. And it just was like the burden lifting. Right. And I think that in these moments, the person who did that to my sister was white. I could have easily been like, see, that's just white people did it. But no, I have a relationship in Christ. Like Heather is a sister in Christ to me. She has been there. This woman prays for me every Wednesday. I literally asked her once, can you please pray for me? Because things are hard and we're caregiving for my mom. And and she was every Wednesday I get a voice message from Heather praying for me. So it's like if we are not mixing and mingling with people who do not look for it, that's how hate can fester in our hearts.
Right.
But you hate the sin and love the sinner, right? And so I think that brings me to the fact that I think we as humans struggle to see Christ's message as grace and also truth. And if we just give truth or our version of twisted truth, where we're hammering people over the head and these people are in and these people are out, and here's our Christian country club and you belong and you do not, that's not Jesus. And if we only give grace and say, our God is a loving God and this, and we don't talk about the realities of his commandments, that's also not Jesus, right? And so it's grace and truth together, you know? And so
that is the word that you would share with the world. Truth and grace.
It's grace and truth.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. PJ?
It's hard to follow that. You know, I think back to what this to me calls to mind when George Floyd was murdered, and I was, in spaces, and at that time, people may or may not remember, there were a lot of companies saying, oh, we should do this or that. And one company that I was, our organization that I was affiliated wasn't sure. And in one of those meetings, what I advocated for was like, look, this isn't just about justice and branding. This is about, something that speaks to health. Our connectedness, our ability to interact with each other is a part of well-being and wellness.
Yeah.
And this divisiveness works against us. So it's our duty to speak to that.
Right.
And what was true then is still true today. It is a move of the heart that will only bring that together. And for us, the answer is in Christ Jesus and the truth of his message to that end, because we have an enemy that seeks to drive and put division with us, and so to me, the mind is to look to Christ, look to that. It's not that having protests or holding politicians and others in power accountable is not a bad thing, but that policies and stuff only go so far. It has to be a move of the heart, and having all of us look at that part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the way
Amen
you said
to
that.
that.
And just my 3 cents, and we're going to lighten the load just a little bit more. When I feel and see the things that's happening, right, I immediately go into the thought process of that we forgot what it's like to be human. We never really knew what it's like to be human, because even if you didn't have policies and all these other things in place, if you just care for people, your mindset, your morals, your thoughts, everything you do would immediately be different, right? But because we are so like programmed with the system and distracted and everything else, then you are so emotionally driven, right? And then you're not using intellect and normal. Like, again, if nobody told me, for the lack of harsh situations, that shooting somebody was bad, right? Immediately I'll be like, I shouldn't shoot that person if they haven't done me anything. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just common sense to me. So I look at a lot of things is that I think people forgot common sense and what it's like to just be human. Because if you stop looking at color, you stop looking at policy, stop looking at everything else, I just respect you as a person. Now, if you do something stupid, then of course, stupid is, stupid does. I got to do something back to you, right? But if it's undeserving, chill out. Be a human. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Let's flip the script real good because I knew we were going to go there. I want you guys to take us through your success journey quickly. Right. Let's get to where we are right now. And I'm gonna preface it with this. Like, we see you guys, right? I'm acting like I don't know y'all at all. Okay. I don't know you. I just see y'all, right? Immediately I'm gonna be like, they look very wealthy and successful. They look very happy. You know what I mean? And then I'll ask the question, like most people do, which I can't stand when I hate it when people start off a conversation. Well, what you do?
What do you do?
As
if that's who you are.
That part. That's another thing too. So when people start a conversation, well, what do you do? And then you tell them, oh, I'm a doctor. Then they're like, oh. And he said, I'm a lawyer. Then they're like, oh, you know what I mean? But without actually knowing who you are, right? So let's quickly go through, number one, you guys meeting, a situation that could have challenged you, and where you are right now.
Oh, gosh. 10,000 feet. I think for us, faith is our bond.
Yes.
Faith is our bond, period. That's how we got together.
Yeah, because that's where we met.
Yeah, exactly. We met in church.
Not that you should go there looking, but the Lord can provide.
Christian mingle. So y'all met in church.
So we met in church. Okay. So I think what a lot of people don't know about me is, I have two sides. I have my extreme artistic, creative side where I'm scattered and there's no time, and hence I have my craft room. Leave me alone. Right. He calls it my sweatshop. This is a lie. It is a creative space.
It's only a sweatshop if you get co-opted to working in there, then you find out quick.
No, and then he turned my nieces against the craft room because he's like, don't let her trick you. Anyway, that's me. And then I have my business side, right? And both sides function very well together. And that's just what it is. So when we met, I was definitely 100% more in creative zone. Okay. So I like to call it Bohemian Bebe. My dad was an artist. My mom's a writer. And my best friend to this day, Miss Angelique Davis, I hope she's listening. Love her to pieces. You trained her too. Said, I was single and I just got out of a relationship. I'm like, I am not dating for a full year because my picker's off and I am choosing people who I think I need to be with. She's like, you should go talk to PJ. He has traveled because both of us share a love for travel. And she's like, he's traveled to a lot of the places you've traveled. He lived overseas like you. I think you'd have a lot to talk about. Speaking of you hating people asking, I'm like, well, what does he do? What's his vibe? And she's she's like, oh, he's in medical school. I was like, oh God.
Wait, so you didn't like the fact that he was in medical school?
No.
Why?
Because in my head, I was like, I'm gonna marry an artist, like so a fellow creative. We're gonna live in a treehouse.
What?
Bebe was on the treehouse vibe, to be frank.
I really was. I really was. I was going to build my own house, live in the woods somewhere with an artist colony. I don't know. I had my thoughts.
Right. So what changed when you found out he was in medical school? And then, matter of fact, let me pause you right quick. So you meeting her, what was the initial attraction? Did you feel it? What did you know she's the one?
Oh boy. This is so let me
we
answer.
Have 20-year arguments.
I know that's why I want to go there. Yeah.
So we definitely when we met, because of course you enter through the eyes as a part of it, and she's a beautiful woman and very smart and had a sense of adventure, which I got from, her travels and, the things that she was into. And all that was because me, I like to do stuff. I like to get out there, at least people be open to trying stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
right.
so that drew me in, and that she was there. We were going on the same Bible studies. We started kind of running into each other in the same places. So, so those things, drew me in. And then, as walking through that, time of dating and courtship, and, going to the Lord in prayer and asking about it. And then, we ended up where we were. Now, you're going back to the question about the whole knew the one. So yes, I came to the realization that she was the one, but, we had this ongoing, and I'm going to just do the highlights of this.
I feel like I need to tell this part of the story.
Give us the highlights, because we got to get to the good stuff.
Okay,
give us 2 good highlights.
Yeah. So, well, the highlights of the argument is like soulmates. Do they exist? So, me and my analytical sense was like
science brain.
Yeah, is that
early in the relationship.
Early in the relationship. So many people in the world, so many confluence of factors that would be something that would work for you, and so. But then she's like, no, if we met at a certain place at a certain time. It's like, yes. And then over time come to the realization is, yes, God had her for me because that's what happened, and so
he's softening this whole story. Okay, so let
me give you the highlights. You can't take
okay, no. But we gotta tell the real story. Okay, so
let him get his version, and then you go to your. That's
it. That's the cliff notes.
Okay,
Spark notes, I guess now.
Okay.
They don't have cliff notes anymore.
So give us your short version.
So this is how he got me. So one, best friend recommendation. I'm gonna listen to it because I was telling her my picker's off.
Right.
So then he invites me out. Obviously, I thought he was extremely attractive. Negative side, you're a doctor, and I don't think that's great. And I know, and I just assumed he was going to be egotistical and just want to talk about doctor stuff. And I'm like, I am not impressed. He takes me to his friend's art museum on date number 1. So that's how he locked that down.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I was very, very impressed. Okay, so then I said to him, I am so glad we found our one. Isn't it wonderful that we are each other's person? Like, we are the one. We are each other's soulmates. Right. He's like, well, I'm not exactly sure that exists, because statistically speaking, and then I stopped listening. I got really and literally, I'm telling you, there's arguments you will get into, young folks, in the first couple of years of your marriage that you better watch your words, because like literally it would come up. Oh, and I'm not your soulmate, right? 5 years. 10 years, 15 years.
There are shirts with themes attesting to this argument in her drawer now.
Are you serious, man?
Bought them.
Right. So let me ask you this real quick before
wait.
Go ahead.
This is how it came around.
All right, go ahead.
Because Pastor Chris preached a sermon and he was talking about people being soulmates, and then it moved on PJ's heart, and then we get in the car, and he was like, I think. I was wrong about that. This is like 17 years later. And I was like, duh. Okay, go.
So 17 years later, right? You say she's the one, right? So let's get to the.
No, that's different. I knew she was the one. The concept of soulmates from an intellectual rationalization perspective, I had trouble. I get that. Yeah. So when you guys were like, that's it, we're together, we're a couple, what was one of the, if you don't mind sharing, the most challenging conversations or arguments you guys had that almost broke y'all up? I'm laughing. So by all means, I'm thinking of something different than you.
We have to talk about this as a African American couple, because a lot of women, the complaint is they want to date for 10 years before walking down the aisle and getting married. And it's no. So for me, I already knew. We were actually trying to practice. Well, and we did actually practice, according to the Bible, biblical plan. We were celibate, until we got married. So before we got married, we're late 20s, early 30s. We got married at 30, so we were probably 29. And I'm like, wow, I never thought I would actually get married. That was not in my plan. I thought I was going to boss it up, run a company, and be a bad bee. That was just the whole goal in life. At
Right,
the time,
right.
I wasn't raised with certain expectations, I guess. I was
Gotcha.
raised by a single mom. And so, but then I just knew within a year, I was like, oh man, like I could see myself marrying this man. So then we got into the marriage conversation. Well, he's in an MD PhD. That is a 9-year process. And so he started talking about, well, maybe after I finish school, which 9 years is not guaranteed. It could be 10, 11, 12 years, right? Depending on how long the PhD takes. And I was like, God did not call me to date somebody for that long. So you need to make that decision. And I think some people see it as an ultimatum. To me, I know my value and worth. I know exactly what I'm practicing as a Christian. I was celibate, and I knew for a fact I couldn't stay celibate that long. And so it's like, I think to communicate to women that it's okay to set boundaries when you are dating and not to be in that relationship for 5+ years. Like, set your criteria, set your boundaries, and communicate them clearly. Because if that's the person for you, it's going to happen. So,
okay, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
So you guys stayed celibate for 9 years.
No,
Did I miss that part?
you
Yeah,
missed that part
okay.
because
We
he asked
were
me to
dating.
marry him within 2 years.
Oh, married.
as
Okay,
I
okay.
said.
Gotcha. Okay,
Because
so
that was I was like,
your
no, I'm
ultimatum
not
was-
doing that.
right. So do you
I see he used the U word. So.
So let's just go ask this question for like men and women, right? So let me ask you, brother to brother. Like, she gave you the ultimatum. What was your first response?
It wasn't an
Like,
ultimatum. It was
I
a
mean,
boundary and a
see,
criteria.
y'all say boundaries. My brain is ultimatum. So you telling me I got 5 years to make a decision or whatever, you know what I mean?
I said 2.
What was your first response?
So I think at the time I thought, well, what do I think? Because it wasn't that I couldn't see her in my life, forever. It was the timing that we had the dispute about. So for me, I received it as, well, this is her boundary. Well, let me figure out my boundary. So, and it was a challenge. I was working on my PhD, managing life in the Northwest, which is not where I'm from, which is very different. And so, that was actually the first time that I got into my own therapy, not only around managing that, but also, just to kind of work and bounce off my own thoughts. And this is before I ever thought I would be a psychiatrist, actually. I thought I was going to be a neurologist or just do academic work. But anyway, that's aside. And in that work, kind of understood, my own thoughts and like, well, the timing of it, maybe that's not your timing, but does that make it any less successful? And, do you need to be that rigid about it? And so, and initially, my folks were not super warm to it, because in their thought, they're like, oh, what if they have kids and they do all that? And we've invested, and my family, God bless them, maybe some of them are watching now, invested a lot into me in terms of allowing me the time and space to do as much school as I did, to do a fellowship abroad and all of these things. But then, at some point in your life, when two become one, you can respect them. They're your parents, but you also have to make your own decisions. And that therapy process was helpful for me to get to that point.
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you guys a question, because I think a lot of people need to get clarity. How long have you been together?
It'll be 20 years next year.
So 20 years, you guys have 2 decades in the experience and everything else. How important is communication? And what would you tell, like, what is let's say a red flag for somebody in a relationship where communication is gonna be an issue? Like, what's one thing you guys point out, like, if you can't communicate like this, it ain't gonna work, right? What would you guys say?
Disrespect and someone who's unwilling to go to therapy. Like, honestly,
Therapy
we have needed mediation. To go back quickly to your question about what's the argument that almost broke you up. Once we were married, there was no argument that could break us, because of our shared faith. It's just like, well, we're gonna have to work through it, right? Like, there's no give up. Like, this is a covenant bond,
right?
And so, but when we were dating, I cooked for him. And okay, this is me in my creative zone, and I was like, I'm gonna make chicken and dumplings. Did I look at a recipe? maybe. I like improvise. I am not naturally a good cook, but but what fools me sometimes is I have people in my family who don't need a recipe, who can just cook. My sister Tasha, my sister Little, and then my niece Camille, who's Tasha's daughter. They are just naturally great cooks. So I thought, well, of course I am. So I make this chicken and dumpling dish, and he comes over. I'm like, I made chicken and dumplings. Look, and this was before lots of training and being in relationship. And Brother Man just looked at it and laughed, and he said,
This is true.
He's like, that's not chicken and dumpling. I slammed that lid down. I was like, you need to go.
That's what she thought.
So mad.
I stayed at 8. It was a tense dinner. Let's say that.
I did not kick her. I'm like, you go sit there and see how mad I am at you about laughing at my. And you want to eat my bad chicken and dumpling. And I knew it was bad. It tasted horrible. But I don't care. You're going to sit there and eat it now.
No, it did not taste bad. It just did not look like traditional Southern. It tasted great. Actually,
did it? I don't remember.
I ate it all, didn't I?
Oh, I thought it was because I was so mad.
No.
You gonna eat this today?
Because I was watching him.
Yeah, he's like, it's so good, man. All right, so communication. Go back to that. What red flag for communication? Like you said, disrespect.
You call me out of my name. You raise your voice. You yell. And now I will say this, and this is one boundary PJ set when we were dating, and it was a very good one because we have stuck to that ever since. I came from a family where it's like we talk loud and we will shout. Like that's just kind of what we do. If we're mad, we're gonna shout. And not so much anymore at all. But like. We were got in an argument and we were on the phone and I yelled at him and I'll never forget. He was like real quiet and he's like, did you just yell at me? I was like,
that's silence.
Yeah. He's like, all right, well, we're going to continue this conversation when we could talk to each other respectfully and not yell.
Yeah.
He's like, goodbye. It was very respectful. And I was like,
yeah,
it set such a good boundary and tone. And I'm so glad he did that because we don't get out of character and diminish and yell.
Exactly.
And that is so important. And
Vitally
I think it can become a habit. And the fact that he drew that boundary, like, oh, we are just not having this conversation.
There's a phrase that there's two dumb people in an argument, the one that's listening and the one that's yelling.
Yeah.
Like, so if somebody's yelling and you're listening to it, like, I'm just as dumb for listening to it. And if you're yelling, like, you're dumb for doing it, because it's like you can't articulate what you're trying to say. You're just all in your emotions and you're letting it all out. So setting boundaries is necessary.
100%.
And having that, just being honest and be like, I'm not taking it. What I mean? So what's a good, I guess that would be a good sign. That's a green flag if somebody can set boundaries.
Major green flag.
And communication. Go ahead.
And I would say because I didn't know it at the time, it was just a reflex. But in my mind, and then what we've kept going forward is the understanding that if we are going to fight fair, to not drag up things that are unrelated, though there's a reflex of people, we can do that at sometimes, but we come back to that to not be disrespectful, to acknowledge and give each other space to say what they have to say, because we may not agree, but often, well, not often, but we disagree, but that we value each other's input. That's an important piece, because when you don't do that, or you leave things unsaid, that's the resentment that builds and blows over and comes out sideways. And there have been parts of our relationship where that's happened and we've had to address it. And so intermittently, you sometimes need a third party, and couples therapy has been very helpful for us.
So therapy has been a good thing for y'all.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good. I mean, while he was talking, I was thinking about, we had a great therapist. Like when he was in, you have to realize, we met, he's in the PhD portion of his MD PhD. So we had to get through that. Then he had the last 2 years of medical school where he was essentially a zombie, a sleepless zombie. This is before they incorporated the work hour limits. The work hour limits.
Yeah.
So he would be like, I feel like this was a period where he would just come home and be like, I lost my jacket today. And then he'd just walk in the room and like crash out.
Right.
And then I just
Right.
see him maybe in a day or so. Like
Yeah.
it was hard. And then all around you, you're seeing couples getting divorced,
Yeah.
breaking up, falling apart, who are in this system. And for us, because we're always plugged into a church and in a community, we
Right.
had that support in
Right.
addition to our family support. And
Gotcha.
thank God we have, our families are very blended together in terms that like our extended families, like we hang out, we're all family.
Gotcha.
It's great in that way.
Right.
But we had a therapist say, you know, you're a great couple.
Mm.
And he was like, once in a while, just pause and take stock. And so I just try and like when I get really, really mad, because I have lawyer in my DNA from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, he's like, you need to just stop and go to law school. He told me that so many times.
Mhm.
And
So many
like,
years ago.
So many
I
years
think-
ago.
Were we dating or had we just been married a couple years?
Maybe married, maybe
Yeah.
dating. I don't know.
Mm.
Because the law school was something I almost did in my 20s, but I'm like, I just don't want to get into that
Right,
kind
right,
of
right.
debt. So it's like when you come with that mentality and you're fighting, it's like, I'm going to win.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Let me
Like-
pause you right quick because we
Okay.
almost run out of time.
Okay.
But I want
Out
you
of
guys
all
to
time?
yes.
Oh, no!
I told you it goes by very quick. So this is I want you guys to do me a favor, right? I
Yeah.
want you to leave a final thought, right? I want you to give us couples some really good advice for sticking together. Like what's
Yeah.
been the tape, the glue, the pillar for y'all's relationship that any couple can apply to their relationship. Like give us that and then give us your final thought about the show altogether. So PJ.
I would say humility and curiosity. Curiosity in that in your emotion, you can ascribe certain intent to your partner and being mindful that our emotions color our experience such that if you're curious about that in yourself, and because I know that there's been times I say, and watching the language like, oh, my spouse is just this way or this or that way, but be curious about it and say, wait a minute, is she that? Is this the character of her?
Mhm.
What do I know about her? And that even when times are hard, you can come back to that and soften your heart for reconciliation, because reconciliation is always necessary. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the resolution of it. So I would say
Mm,
that's a big thing, and the humility that you're going to get stuff wrong. This has been I think one of the longest journeys in our relationship, and my ability to relate to her and be a good husband is, especially for guys, we have a way that we want to do, we have certain expectations, but knowing that even when you get it wrong, that defensiveness about it, think about it when we sin, our sin is worse than we actually think, but Christ forgives us. So recognizing that and instead of wanting to be right, wanting to present well, know that, relatively we all sin and fall short. So realizing that in my mind so that I can be a partner and be open to learning,
Mhm.
yeah.
that's why
Awesome.
humility is important. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Bebe.
Doubling down on that and like not using words like you always.
Mhm.
That's me. I'm good at it. Like you always do it.
Mhm.
Know that, and in a relationship, the relationship is actually what you have to be working towards.
Mhm.
And in that, winning is losing. Because I've won many an argument, you better believe,
Mhm.
but I lost
Yeah,
the connection in the relationship.
that's good.
And I had to learn that because I am extremely hard-headed and I love to argue.
Mhm.
You see what I mean? And so like having the humility to be like, okay, I know from my perspective that this is right. And I will name you all A, B, C, D, E,
Mm.
all the way down the line. But in doing that, is that actually working towards reconciliation? And have I listened to him? Have I heard his point of view? And this is an ongoing struggle.
Right.
The work is always going. And, in the season we're in now, we're caregiving. My mom is on hospice. We didn't get to this, but
Mhm.
she is in our home. And so what does that look like? My sister my hero has like come in and is living with us and helping us caregive. And then we have our wonderful caregiver from Central Home Health. Shout out Jasmine, who's amazing. And so but it's like, well, that changes the whole dynamic of our house. What does this look like? Are you okay? Am I okay? How? And praise God, it's all working out very, very well. But I would say, on top of what PJ said, just the winning is losing. I do not understand how you do it without faith. I do not understand. You have to foundationally have faith, have community. You need outside people to say, you know what, Bebe, you're wrong for that. Like that, my friend Angelica, all day long. Like she's the one I call because I know she loves PJ as much as I love PJ. Just like I love Cedric, her husband, as much as she does, in a different way, in a friend way, right? Yeah. But it's like, if she comes to me with some negative stuff about her husband, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, and I'm going to be like, well, wait a minute, you know this about yourself, so why don't you look at it from that perspective? And this goes to another success tip. Do not tell your partner's business to everybody, because everybody does not love your partner the way that you do. You select your 1 or 2 people that you will talk to who will correct you unabashedly and be like, you're wrong for that. Because my girlfriend Angelique has told me many a times when I was wrong for that, and I've gotten ticked at her, but I love her to death.
Yes, because she's telling the truth. So
she's a truth teller.
Have friends that tell you the truth. Absolutely. Look, and I'm going to wrap it up by saying this. I think, and I even think I know, I understand. Have a relationship and not an expectationship.
Yes.
Because when you have the expectations of somebody doing something, you miss the opportunity to actually have a relationship. So with that being said, that is the end of our show.
I feel like this is part 1 and we need to come back.
I told y'all, it's a thing for us, right? So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. The video will still be up. Make sure you like it, ask questions. We'll go back on and comment. And obviously we're going to see y'all again for part 2. But see y'all next time. Much love. Peace out.